Hi everyone. Today we continue our four-part video series focusing on communication and specifically the DISC communication assessment. And what we've been talking about is the four DISC styles. So to remind you, the first one is D for dominant, the next one is I for influential, S for steady, and C for compliance or conscientious. So what we want to find out now is, we talked about how that is about observable behavior. So we also mentioned how really what we want to do is make sure that we're meeting every individual where they're at, so communicating in their style. So how do we identify what a particular individual's preferred style is? Well, this is where we have four gauges. The first one is whether they're direct or indirect. The next one is whether they're open or guarded. The third is whether they're faster paced or slower paced. And the last is whether they're relationship focused or task focused. So when we go back and think about whether or not people are direct or indirect, what do you think that is? What are the styles that we talked about already? So your direct styles are those that are communicating in the D and your I. Those are your direct style of communication. Your indirect are those that are S and C. Now, when I talked about direct for D and I, that's going to look very different, because a D is going to come, and because their style of relating is more about results and getting things done and quick, they might come at you and just be like, hey, do you have that report that I asked for? That's their form of direct. The I is still going to be very direct, but the way in which they're going to ask you is going to be very different. So that might look like, hey, how's it going? Right? So they're still going to ask for the report and they're still going to get to it, but it's going to look, sound, and feel different. So that's the difference between direct and indirect. For open, which ones do you think are open? Well, those that are open are the ones that are the people. So your I's and your S's, those are your open styles of communication, right? Those are the people that are probably going to share more and probably also even share more personal stories. Those that are guarded are your D's and your C's, so they're going to keep things a little bit closer to the chest. Now, if we're talking about pace, when it comes to D's and I's, those are your fast talkers, right? And the energy that they bring into the room, again, is sort of that go, go, go kind of style. But again, it's going to feel very differently. Right? So the I is going to come into a room, and even though it's going to be faster paced, they might be talking like this and having a really good time and being bubbly, and it's going to look a little bit different than the D, which is going to be a little bit more contained. It's still going to be someone who's getting to the point and talking quickly, walking quickly probably, but again, it's going to feel differently. While your S's and your C are typically considered your slower pace. Now they're going to probably talk a little bit slower, and more than anything, I want you to think about when it comes to processing information. So some people make decisions quickly, get the information, boom, 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 and done. And other people need to sit, digest, and be with the information a little bit longer. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about slower and fast-paced individuals or preferred style of communication. And finally, we've talked about how that's the pace, but now we get to the point where, are we task focused or are we relationship focused? And when it comes to your S's and your I's, these are your people, so they are relationship focused, versus the D's and the C's that might be more about getting things done, and those are more task focused individuals, or their behavior tends to be that way. So those are the four gauges to keep in mind, so that when you have an individual that you're interacting with, you can quickly think to yourself, okay, is it direct or indirect, open or guarded, slower or faster, and is it task more or relationship more? And that way you can adjust your behavior and adapt to their preferred communication style. So I want to hear from you. Does that resonate with you? Is that something that you're putting into practice intuitively? I want you to share with me in the comments below.